5, 4, 3.
All right, well, good morning and welcome to another episode of A Seat at the Table. My name is Mike Flores and I'm the Chancellor of the Alamo College's district, and these live streamed episodes will feature special guests, and they cover, as you know, if you have joined us previously, a variety of topics that are of impact to the larger San Antonio community, but specifically focused on what we do here at the Alamo College's district and our mission and our vision to educate and to train talent. In particular, we want to encourage community members and of course family members from the Alamo College's district to join in on the conversation by submitting questions that you have for our guests, and I encourage you to take a seat and to join us in this morning's conversation. For today's episode, we're going to discuss the City of San Antonio's launch of Train for Jobs SA, a program which is a component of the city's recovery and resiliency plan. The Alamo College's district is actually a partner in that effort. We're going to focus on jobs, Train for Jobs SA, which attempts to provide certification for up to 10,000 individuals who have been impacted by COVID-19. And Alamo College's district is a partner in that effort, training up to 5,000 or half of those individuals with a post-high school credential. As you can see here this morning, we're physically at the Alamo College's district DSO, or District Support Operations offices off of Broadway, and we are practicing social distancing, and so we're live on site. I'm joined this morning by two guests, and the first is our Director of Economic Development for the City of San Antonio, Miss Alejandra Lopez, and we call her Alex Lopez, but Alejandra Alex Lopez. And then we're also joined by one of our own, a student from the West Side Education and Training Center, which we refer to as the WETC, and it's Miss Valerie Delgan Acosta, or Valerie Acosta. And so we're going to talk to her about her experience at WETC, and in particular, her experience in her field, which she's just talking about the training process and also talking about her externship process and that experience. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And so I'm going to ask our guest, Alex Lopez, about Train for Jobs SA. And so just a really broad question first, and then we'll delve down a little deeper. Alex, if you could tell us about the city's workforce recovery program, and in particular, what are some of the general highlights about Train for Jobs SA?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Flores, for giving us this opportunity to share a little bit more about the program. At its core, the program is designed to help our residents access the training that can get them back into the workforce and back on that career path. So we know that the COVID pandemic had a very substantial impact in particular industries in our community, and some of those residents, the jobs that they were in will simply not be there anymore. So this is our opportunity to help those residents re-engage, get the skills that they need to enter career fields that are in demand right now. So the program is unique in that it includes wraparound case management services to help them complete that training. Of course, the tuition assistance to actually cover the training costs, but then also a training stipend. So it provides financial assistance while they're actually in training to really help them complete the programs.
Okay. And then who, Ms. Lopez, is eligible to participate in the program?
Right, so we are focusing on those residents that have been impacted by COVID. So we know that is already a substantial number, but that is who we're focusing on, those people that lost their job and because of the pandemic and the impact it's had. We're wanting to make sure that people are eligible to work here and that they're going to be able to train and take advantage of this opportunity.
Okay, excellent. So I think if I were someone who was impacted by COVID-19, lived within the city of San Antonio, where would I go to?
Yeah, so that was one of the uniquenesses about
Sure,
this program,
sure.
in that we have a number of partners. There's including Alamo Colleges,
Right.
but we've got a number of other organizations that are helping us implement this program as well. And the way that it was designed, you can go to any of them.
Okay.
So you can come straight to Alamo colleges if you'd like. You can go through Workforce Solutions Alamo if you're working with them already. If you're familiar with Project Quest, you can go to them. Family Service, Restore Education, these different organizations, you can go straight to them to register, or you can just come to some of the main partners.
Okay. Well, great. So I think that's important. I know that we have people that it's the same for folks that are interested in registering for classes at any one of our colleges. They go to our website or they look for a general number. I have it here and I'm supposed to mention it at the end, but I'm going to do it now because you've talked about it. So individuals can go, of course, to workforcesolutionsAlamo.org. They can call 210-224-HELP. And then, as mentioned, they can also go to any of the partners. And so Alamo Colleges is a partner. They can go to also alamo.edu/essay recovery. And so there's an intake form there, and then somebody is going to call you. If you go to, I think one of the wonderful things and an asset about Train for Jobs essay is that Ms. Lopez and the city of San Antonio have said you can go to any front door, any partner's front door, and then be able to begin the process of both determining if you're eligible and then also being able to talk about some of the things that you may be interested in pursuing and earning that post-high school credential. I think it's very ambitious, but it's also wonderful about the assets that Ms. Lopez and the city have developed with the workforce partners about paying for the tuition, providing case management services, being able to provide the stipend, which I think is particularly critical during COVID. One of the questions I wanted to ask Alex is particularly about Train for Jobs essay, which is the current program, and then what's the relationship and how does this complement the sales tax initiative, Proposition B? Can you tell us what is different or what's the same about the current program and then the ballot initiative, Proposition B, which is on the ballot for November 3rd?
Certainly. So the current program is really designed to provide that immediate support that our residents need. So the program is designed to serve up to 10,000 residents between now and September of 2021. So the funding and the way it's been structured has been to serve through that time period. The initiative, the ballot initiative, really builds on this work. So that initiative would continue this type of programming, at least the tuition assistance portion of it, for an additional 4 years after September of 2021. It also changes a little bit in that it brings in some components that we know should be part of an overall strategy, including the opportunity to complete degrees. As we've done a lot more digging into the unemployment data for our community, we've realized that there is a number of residents that have some college but haven't completed a degree. And we know that completing that degree could substantially increase their earnings. So the Workforce Initiative also includes a component to help residents complete those degrees that they may have started. Our current initiative didn't necessarily focus on that yet, but those are some of the things that it's building on the current work. Also the partnerships that we've created. We're setting a very solid foundation for how to market to residents, how to make sure that we're connecting with employers and knowing what they need and the type of trained individuals that they need. So those are all very solid connections that the current initiative is building.
Excellent. All right. So the current initiative, Train for Jobs essay, is immediate. It's providing immediate assistance to up to 10,000 individuals, our neighbors within the city of San Antonio that have been impacted by COVID. And then and that will continue during this year, and then current initiative will continue into the spring of 21. And then Proposition B, which is under consideration for the November 3rd ballot, will continue to provide tuition assistance, and it will go from September of 21 through...
For 4 years.
For 4 years, up to 2025,
Correct.
And it will allow individuals to receive tuition assistance.
Right.
Right. Well, that's so both current plans and then a proposed plan on November 3rd for Proposition B. And so there's a lot of interest in the city. Obviously, you've played a pivotal role in working within the city and within the community on being able to provide this opportunity. And how important is it for our community to prioritize workforce training for in-demand jobs? How did we arrive at this point?
Yeah, I think for all the negatives that this pandemic has created, I think it's created enormous opportunities. And so from a workforce development perspective, and just from an overall economic development perspective, we've known that an educated, skilled workforce is critical to the economic growth of our community. So this is creating that that we know will change the trajectory for our community. The challenges that we're experiencing before with poverty, this is one of the best opportunities that we have to change that pattern that we're seeing.
Well, great. Well, I think that is one of the, they just updated the figures, so the poverty has been a challenge within the city of San Antonio and our community, intergenerational poverty in particular. We know that I guess the update is that the poverty rate within San Antonio pre-COVID had decreased, but that we're still up there. And so I think that being an educator, I think our Alamo colleges, my colleagues, and others within the community know that the way to a better life is often having that post-high school credential. So I want to thank you for all of your effort, everything that you've done. And so as the Director of Economic Development for the City of San Antonio, we mentioned talent and post-high school credentials. And so we're fortunate to also be joined at the seat at the table with, a seat at several tables with Miss Valerie Acosta. And so she's one of our own. She's a student at the Westside Education and Training Center. And so, Ms. Acosta, I want to ask you and for the audience, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and then what program you're studying at WETC.
Yes, I am a medical assistant student, and I came from studying at WETC. I just recently completed my certification exam and my externship, so now I am in the process of entering the job search phase for HPOP. I am a mother of 5 girls, one of whom is actually on her way to getting her bachelor's degree, and a cancer survivor. And, well, now I'm just wanting to find that job and start my career and get going on that.
So medical assisting, you completed your certification for that. And how long did that program take?
It took about, I want to say about six to 8 months. After COVID, we started virtually on Zoom. So that took probably about 2 months, and that was 3 hours every day. And once completed, we were able to start with our externship. So that I just completed last week. So after that, we're just finishing and catching up with everything so that we can hopefully graduate with all our classmates and move forward in our lives.
Oh, great. So I'm sure graduation will either be virtual or physical with social distancing.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about your externship and what you did. So you had the virtual learning, right? And then you probably had some labs as part of that. But then the externship process in particular, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We did a lot of, we learned about taking vitals. They allowed us also the opportunity to go to the Robert B. Greene Hospital and probably participate about half the day doing phlebotomy.
Oh, okay.
So we had the experience of doing that, and we also learned about urine analysis,
Mm-hmm.
The anatomy. We learned about so many things.
What made you decide to pursue this certification?
Well, I've come across 2 experiences in my life.
Yes.
One was when I had one of my children. I had them at 23 and a half weeks.
Wow.
So for 4 months, she was in the hospital. and just watching the doctors, the nurses, the medical assistants, respiratory therapists, working with her on a daily, just made me want to pursue, wanting to help people and wanting to get into the medical industry. And on top of that, right after she was released from the hospital, my daughter at the time was 18, so she was diagnosed with lymphoma, cancer, and that just made me even want it more. Watching the doctors with her, how they took care of her, and just the process of it all. Not just of the process, but of the medications and the things that they would need to help make them better.
All right. Well, so if we look at it, it was a 6-month pathway, mother of 5 daughters. Just those 2 lived experiences that you had in particular interested you in that field. So I think that's important, and you have your certification, and so we look forward to celebrating Mr. Acosta's graduation. And so she attended at Southwest High School, right? And then decided to pursue her certification at WETC. And so I want to thank you for being with us. I think what we've discussed, and I know we have some questions here, and there may be some questions coming in, is that's specifically what Train for Jobs SA I think is all about, is being able to provide individuals, some more of our neighbors, family, or friends, right, with the opportunity, like Ms. Acosta, to earn a post-high school credential and then be able to go into a field that they're interested in. In this case, Ms. Acosta went to the WETC, completed 3 significant externships, looking at different ranges, whether that was pediatrics or whether that was, what was the... Orthopedics, pediatrics, orthopedics, and then did you also do OBGYN?
Yes.
OBGYN. So all 3 of those in particular with this certification process. So I have some questions, and I'm going to ask Ms. Lopez, if we were to look at the current program, Train for Jobs SA, let's see, it says, is Train for Jobs SA only for people who have no prior college education? Will someone with a college degree benefit from this training? Are they eligible for this training?
Right. So we really are focusing on workforce training right now. We know that the vast majority of the people who were impacted with unemployment were in these populations that didn't have a bachelor's degree.
Okay. Okay. I remember hearing, but it was over a month ago, that there were about 150 plus individuals that were unemployed. Maybe a third of those had some college, but as you mentioned, 2/3 of those individuals did not have a post-high school credential.
That is true. I think just another small component of the program also, keeping in mind that we also have residents that were impacted that don't have a high school equivalency.
High school equivalency, okay.
So we actually have a couple of partners, including Alamo colleges, who are helping us with that as well, to make sure that those residents don't get further left behind.
Okay.
There's also an opportunity for them to get that level of training before they
That's wonderful. So this, in particular, this program, Train for Jobs SA, is targeted towards individuals that do not have college yet, but will take them through certification programs and other things. And that can be, what is the length? The programs can vary in length from what to what?
They can. We see some that are just a couple of weeks.
Okay.
That can be technically stacked upon each other to really help make that person more marketable. But then we can also go longer, 24 weeks or 36 weeks. So even though that's not a full long-term training program, we can see this training extend for a bit.
Okay, excellent. Our student, Ms. Acosta, mentioned as part of that she has got the certification, right? She earned the certification. She's looking forward to graduation. She did externships in 3 different clinics, and now she's in the process of job searching. In Train for Jobs SA in particular, what about job placement? Can you tell us a little bit about job placement?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, that is the metric that we are using, to gauge the success of the program, making sure that our residents are able to re-enter the workforce. So when I talk about case management and the wraparound services, that includes job placement. You know, from the beginning, making sure that that the type of training that the individual selects really lines up with what they want to do and with what's available, what jobs are actually available, but then also helping them through that process as they're completing their education like you are to get into that position.
Okay. Excellent. Another question is, and of course our conversation right here is in English, but one of the questions that we had was whether this program will provide assistance for ESL or for individuals who have limited English ability.
We are looking for training courses that are also available in Spanish.
In Spanish, okay.
Completely, so that residents can take advantage of those opportunities as well. Yes.
Okay, for monolingual Spanish speakers, then they can also call and go through the program as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, excellent. Is there anything else that you would like us to know about Train for Jobs SA, Ms. Lopez?
I just want to make sure that people know that this opportunity is out there, and that as people are ready to re-engage in and look at what the future is going to hold and how we move forward, that this is a great opportunity for them to take advantage of.
So this is Train for Jobs SA. Ms. Lopez, who is the Director of Economic Development for the City of San Antonio, has been working with a coalition of community partners to be able to move forward along with city leadership and to ensure it's successful. Individuals can go to workforcesolutionsAlamo.org or they can call 210-224-HELP for assistance in the intake process. Of course, I would like to mention, as Ms. Lopez did, that any of the partners are a front door for intake and eligibility. So individuals can also go to alamo.edu/SA recovery, and then we will go ahead and contact them and work with them as part of that process. We were also joined by Ms. Valerie Acosta, who has just successfully completed certification. Ms. Acosta just successfully completed certification in medical assisting through our HPOG grant and then at the Westside Education and Training Center. And so if you, Ms. Acosta, had a chance to tell folks who were thinking about pursuing training, what would you tell them to kind of say, you know, do it?
Oh God, do it. It's worth it. They help you with so much. The tuition, the financial assistance. You're able to balance your home life, your family time at home, and that's what I loved about it. So they helped in so many ways, and I would say go for it. It's worth it.
Well, there you go, Ms. Acosta. As she mentioned, go for it. I think one of the wonderful things about the Train for Jobs SA program is it has some of the most critical elements, which are not only tuition assistance, but also what we call case management or wraparound services, which really means that you have somebody to go to who's a partner with you to talk about how you're doing in class, what are their challenges, do we need to check in on things, and it's a regular kind of almost weekly or bi-weekly check-in to just help you out. I think we always need a partner, especially on an education path, to help us see the finish line and help us and work towards the finish line. So I want to thank you. And so as Ms. Acosta said, just go for it. And we all know that, especially as adults, that there are competing demands on our time, and during COVID, also competing demands on our pocketbook. And so this is particularly important. This toolbox of services that Train for Jobs SA is providing, I think, is critical. I do want to repeat once again that you can go to workforcesolutionsAlamo.org, or you can call 210-224-HELP, or of course you can go to alamo.edu/SA recovery. I want to thank Ms. Acosta and Ms. Lopez for joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us for a seat at the table, and you can look forward to more of these discussions in the future, and look forward to our updated topics. Thank you. Have a good day and have a great week.